Good evening. I'd like to call this May 7th, 2026 work session of the Jackson County Board of Education to order. This time I'll turn it over to Dr. Brown for superintendent's comments.
Well, good evening, board, community, students. Thank you for being here this evening. I think you are definitely going to be the highlight of this evening's meeting, and we can't wait to hear from you.
Good
Board,
evening.
this is
I'd
a
like to call
group.
this May 7th, 2026 work session
Look
of
at
the
you,
Jackson
doing
County
it
Board of
again.
Education to order. This time I'll turn it over to Dr. Brown for superintendent's comments.
Well, good evening, board, community,
Hey, we pre-recorded.
students. And we can't wait to hear from you. Board, this is a
I'd like to call
group.
this May 7th, 2026 work session of the Jackson.
Thank you. We don't need technology. I do want to say, board, this group of students, the Jackson Student Leadership Team, is led by a number of our faculty members from different schools. And it's comprised of students from both of our high schools, students who also attend Empower as well with us. And just a little bit about them. They are passionate. They care about their schools, and they work together to help us come up with ideas to make our school district better. And at the same time, they learn a lot about our community. They learn about different organizations. They learn about the importance of service inside of the community in which they live in. They learn a lot about government and how policy works and how relationships are at the heart of so many things that happen politically in our world. And really proud of these students. I have an opportunity a couple times a year to meet with them, and they definitely give me feedback and help us as we try to provide them with the best possible education. I want to thank their parents because it's clear working with this group that we have some amazing parents in our community who work really, really hard to make sure that their kids are well-mannered, respectful, and care about each other, and that's really important. So I do have a few announcements after they get done, but at this time I'd like to call up Ms. Kate Wilson. She's going to come up and introduce our students. Ms. Wilson runs this group of students and does a tremendous job organizing and making sure they have everything they need.
Good evening, I'm Kate Wilson. I have the honor of working with our Jackson Student Leadership. We have wonderful teams to help us facilitate JSLT at the school level. Jocelyn Newell at East, Fisher Mitchum at Jackson County, and David Case. It's been awesome this year helping these projects really get off the ground day to day, working with our students. Camila Camacho is going to come up and give you a big overview of JSLT before our presentation.
Good evening. My name is Camila Camacho. I am a junior from East Jackson High School, and I am part of the JSL team. And today I'm going to talk about how Jackson County Student Leadership, what it is first, how students are selected, and also what we do once we are selected. So Jackson County Student Leadership Team is made up of 10th, 11th, and 12th graders across the district, which we are focused on developing our leadership skills, character, and civic responsibility, and also so we can empower and lead within our schools. What we do once we're into these, once selected, we learn how to work together, especially with peers across the district, because sometimes we do not know people from Jackson County personally, and I've got to meet some great people from there. We get to learn about each other through workshops, meetings, and also our 2-day trip to Atlanta. That trip to the Atlanta Capitol, we got to learn about each other, but also got to learn about our leadership skills in our government and how they were able to get to the point they were. Now, how students are selected. Students apply within their sophomore year in the fall. They complete a written application. They are either nominated by teachers or self-nominations, and after that, they complete a multi-step process, including a group and an individual interview. After these interviews, they 6 sophomores from each high school are selected. And once selected, they're welcomed with a breakfast. Obviously, everyone loves breakfast, right? And they meet twice in the spring semester, led by J.W. Fanning Institute. And on these, they work on leadership skills, on how to work with each other, especially when people do not know about each other. Like, one of the lessons that we learned that probably every JSLC student here knows is how to tell leadership using shapes. Like, personally, I'm a circle. There was squares, triangles, a Z also. I know for this year's sophomores, they changed it up a little bit and changed it to colors though. So I think I would be like an orange, I think, from what I've been told. And once we're selected, we also work on one big project, which they're gonna show you afterwards. Here you go. East Jackson JSLT Impact Project.
Good evening, everyone. We are a couple members from East Jackson's JSLT, and we will spend the starting off with some things that we did last year that we continue to incorporate into this school. For last year's impact project, we collected over 400 pieces of clothing that we then distributed roughly half at our JSLT tailgate hosted in the school. We took the remaining gear and were able to hand out 200 shirts at our Eastside Fall Festival. We had a great turnout and we were able to get rid of all of them.
This year, we created a brand new impact project that we dubbed Life Launch Day. So, what exactly was Life Launch Day? Well, as students, we heard our peers making all these comments about how they felt like school taught them all these amazing things, but sometimes they felt like it didn't necessarily teach them skills that they would need in adulthood. So we took on the challenge of creating a day for EJHS seniors where they learned from teachers and community partners valuable life lessons and got to come together and just have a fun day overall. With such strong ambitions, we had to figure out how exactly we would make this work. So we split our JSLT group up into teams designated for completing certain tasks. We had one team that was focused on reaching out to small businesses and community members in order to fundraise for the event. We had another team who reached out to our administration and figured out the logistics of the event and how we would make everything work in our school. And we had another team who focused on how to make the event fun for a bunch of seniors, which is tough. And finally, we all reached out to presenters together, and it turned out really great, even better than we could have expected.
At Life Launch Day, we hosted 10 stations across the school where we could teach seniors important life skills before they're thrown into college. So we taught car maintenance with Mr. Fred Sullivan, first aid with Coach Bustle, laundry and clothing care with Miss Ware, dating 101, which was a favorite, with Dr. Miller, job interview basics with Miss Heather Robinson, email etiquette with the Miss Kate Wilson, dorm room basics with Christina McCalla, and personal finances with Miss Diana Ross. We also hosted 2 game sessions, volleyball and Foursquare, just to break up the learning, have that fun for the seniors like Campbell said. At car maintenance and repair, we taught students how to check their oil, how to check their tire pressure, and how to jumpstart a car. These are pretty comprehensive topics that we could teach in about 15 minutes, but they were important to teach these students before they got into a dire situation. That same idea of getting ahead of the curve was present in our first aid station, where Coach Bustle taught students how to do CPR and how to check for early signs of a stroke. For clothing care, we had our home economics teacher, Miss Ware, teach students how to do their laundry. This is pretty important for college students, like seniors going into college, some of whom would be doing laundry for the first time in their lives. And dating 101, we had Dr. Miller, head of that, and he taught the importance of being communicative in a relationship, as well as how to stay safe on the first date. We also had job interview basics with Miss Heather Robinson, where she taught professional dress as well as overall interview tips. With Miss Wilson, we had email etiquette. She went over how to make a good subject line and how to do basic email functions. We invited the local nonprofit Rooted Interiors to do dorm room basics. And finally, we had Miss Diana Ross teach personal finances to students who wouldn't have been exposed to it otherwise.
We would like to take this time to thank our sponsors who helped make Life Launch Day a huge success. Thanks to Nicholson Baptist Church, we were able to provide lunch for all of our seniors who attended our event. And thanks to Jackson EMC, we were able to give our presenters custom engraved water bottles, JSLT water bottles. So this is a picture of the Awalas that two of our JSLT members engraved. And so they have our Jackson Student Leadership logo on them. And so that was a really cool thing we were able to give to our presenters. I also want to thank our community partners who helped make Life Launch Day a tremendous success. All of these partners gave us presenters to fill our stations out, and so that was a huge success, and we're just super grateful. Overall, the turnout for the event was amazing. With the permission of our administrators, we were able to make this event mandatory for our seniors, and so seniors were excused for the first half of the day to attend the event, and then we coupled it with Senior Field Day, and so it was kind of like just a big fun day for our seniors. And so overall, we had 150 students in attendance, and the senior class took down 70 pizzas. So at lunch, when we were handing out food, we also handed out QR codes for the students to fill out. We were super pleased with the feedback that we got. Almost 80% of the responses rated the event either a 4 or a 5. And so we took that as a huge success. Some of the favorite stations were Dating 101 with Dr. Miller, as Jack mentioned, First Aid with Coach Bustle, and then some of the game stations that we had set out.
Looking at our Life Launch Day, so much happened and so much was achieved. So our sophomore JSLTs worked together to create a video showcasing the day's highlights.
Were you moving into a dorm? Okay, well this is a bedroom layout, okay? So were you moving into a dorm?
Okay. Are you okay? Are you
Oh, hey, yeah, they bring, you mean bring, and Rob bring up a good point.
okay? Okay.
Thank you so much for listening, and thank you, board, for all of your support. Without you guys, our program wouldn't be possible, so again, thank you. We hope you enjoyed our presentation, and have a good rest of your day.
Hello, we are Jackson County JSLT Student Leadership Team. My name's Summer.
I'm Julia Crothers.
I'm Ava Lesniak.
I'm Parker Todd.
And I'm Madeline Brown.
And our JSLT 2026, 2025, 2026 focus this year was to find a way for us to develop our skills as leaders and then use these skills and present them to our students, but also allow for them a way to use these skills within our community. To do this, we did 2 different events. We first did a thrifting drive where we collected clothing items from our communities and then allowed for our students to take them in a thrifting shopping-like day. And then we also hosted our leadership retreat where students were nominated from each sports and then participated in a leadership workshop where we had them learn skills from not only our students in JSLT, but from our guest speakers as well. To do this, we worked on a lot of different things. Some of these skills include communicating with our admin for things like storage space, advertisement by utilizing the social media that was given to us last year in our previous impact project, to promote our outreach. And then as well as our time management by taking time to meet together as a team to discuss what we were actually going to do. Kind of difficult.
Right. I'm a little under the weather, so bear with me. To organize this, we were given access to the athletics closet and storage under the grand staircase. We also received in our second semester a $1,000 grant for clothing racks from the JCSS Foundation. And we organized during the 30-minute advisement period in the middle of our day and after school, many after-school meetings. So our fall semester was at the grand staircase during lunch periods. Something that admin made clear is that they wanted organization and logging things so that people couldn't use this to skip, because people definitely would. So we folded and sorted clothes by size, shape. We laid it all out on the grand staircase. We had a sign-in form and sectioned off areas to ensure that people couldn't go wherever they wanted. And this also helped us log how many items we got. Ultimately, 585 people entered the thrift area, and we gave away just over 1,000 items. Moving on to our spring semester, it was also at the grand staircase, but this time we had the $1,000 grant to buy clothing racks. And with this, we were able to put the clothes on the racks, put the racks on the grand staircase. It took about 5 minutes versus 20. And this time about 300 people entered the thrift area, and just under 500 items were given away.
After the thrift drive at the Jackson County High School, we decided to bring our thrift drive to Empower to incorporate our students at Empower, half day or full day, and also just incorporate students from the entire community. This is because last year we decided to focus this year on incorporating students from Empower more, because we felt last year they were excluded in some of our projects. We moved our clothing drive to Empower and set up our clothing racks in the front of the Empower cafeteria for one day, two cafeteria sessions. And we gave away 46 items that day. And this number may seem lower than the amount that we were able to give away in our previous semester's thrift drive, but that's because we were only at Empower for one day. And the students who were at Empower were incredibly grateful to be able to participate in this project. After we finished up at Empower, we collected all of the additional clothing and donated it to the Fostering Hope Clothes Closet, which is located in Galilee Church. This organization works closely with Jackson County CASA, which is an organization that we heard from in one of our August JSLT meetings, and we really wanted to make sure that these clothes stayed in the community. As a team, this project helped us learn to ensure proper communication and divide ourselves into goal-based teams to make large tasks like this thrift drive easier to manage. And at the end of the thrift drive, once we totaled everything up, we had given away 1,588 items to students in our school.
So our next major impact project was our leadership retreat, and the goal of this was to share the skills that we have learned within JSLT and give them to other student leaders in our community. So our outcome from this was we had 24 people attend, and many gave us feedback that they're going to now take what we have taught them and what our speakers had taught them and put them into the rest of our community. So at our leadership retreat, we had 4 amazing speakers take the time out of their day to come. So we had Ms. Cameron Tahn, who is the Assistant Superintendent of HR, and she talked to us about problem solving. We had Brandon Lamarck, who is the owner and operator of Chick-fil-A, and he talked to us about business leadership. We had Fisher Mitchum, who is a football coach and a teacher at Jackson County, and he talked to us about teamwork. And we had Cam Graves, who works for Free Chapel. He talked to us about philanthropy, and he also provided everyone with lunch that day. So at our leadership retreat, we had 3 breakout sessions. Our first one was our shapes activity. You heard a little bit about that earlier, where everyone gets to choose what shape they're drawn to, and it is a self-evaluation activity that allows students to see what kind of leader they are, because everyone's a different type of leader. Then we had our leadership presentation, which was kind of just a bunch of the stuff that we have learned throughout our years of being in it, and we got to give that out to our community and teach them. One of our major things in that was learning how to properly give a handshake. So that was one thing that they got to practice, because that's really important for your life. And then philanthropy, we talked just about ways to give back in your community and things to do in your community. And our major project in that was writing thank you notes, because that is something that you're also going to have to do a lot in your life, especially when you're graduating. That is one thing I'm doing.
Following our student leadership retreat, we sent out a form to all of the participants asking for their feedback about the day. And overall, they felt that it was super informative and they enjoyed the opportunity to be a part of it. And they also really appreciated the opportunity to hear from 4 different speakers who are involved in different aspects of leadership and how those different aspects can apply to different parts of your life. Overall, next year we want to expand upon the participation for our leadership retreat. We hope to include club officers as well as sport officers. And we also hope to utilize our social media account to advertise our projects more effectively, especially by partnering with like the school systems, Instagram, and other things like that. And we also would like to take previous projects, like last year our impact project was Student Appreciation Days, where once a month we took candy and we played music and we opened the doors for students coming into the school and just gave them a warm welcome in the morning. And we hope to take an idea like that and build upon that in the future. Overall this year we felt we had a really significant impact on not only our school but our community. We helped raise more awareness about what JSLT is and who we are. We felt that we repurposed our knowledge and skills to give back to our community and the student leaders within our school. And we also gave back through donations and community engagement with the thrift exchange, and not just in our school, but in our whole community. Speaking for the JCHS JSLT, we would really like to give a special thanks to the Jackson County School System and the board and Dr. Brown for giving us the opportunity to be here and to do this, to Free Chapel for sponsoring our lunch for the leadership retreat, and to Mrs. Wilson for teaching us everything that we've learned throughout JSLT and being a great teacher and mentor for us. And we'd just like to ask if anyone had any questions for us that we could answer. And if not, that's totally okay.
All right, so there were some of you that did not get up and present, correct? Y'all are excited about that? I'd like you to make a line behind the podium. Tell me your name, tell us your name, what high school you go to, what class you're in, and then if you are a graduating senior, let us know what you're doing next year, whether you're going to college, going in the workforce, or going into the military. So Titus is going to start. Let's go. Oh, I want all of them. Every one of them.
All right. Hello, my name is Titus Tolbert. I go to East Jackson High School, and I am a sophomore. Is that it?
Hold on. We got to let Titus, everybody be attentive. Like at graduation next Saturday, we need everybody paying attention. So here we go.
All right. Hello, my name is Titus Tolbert. I am a sophomore at East Jackson.
Hi, my name is Kayla Boble. I am a senior at Jackson County High School, and I'm going to Georgia Tech next year to study biochemistry.
Hello, my name is Parker Glenn. I go to Jackson County High School. I'm class of 2026, and next year I'll be attending Samford University to study business administration.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Roberts, and I go to Jackson County High School, and I'm a junior.
My name is Joshua Simon. I go to Jackson County High School, and I'm a junior.
My name is Jackson Soche. I'm a junior at East Jackson High School, and I'm planning to go to Georgia Tech for mechanical engineering.
Hey, my name is Duncan Porter, and I'm a junior at East Jackson High School.
Hi, my name is Brooklyn Guilford, and I'm a senior at Jackson County High School, and I'm going to the University of Michigan for nursing.
Hi, my name is PJ Walker, and I'm a junior at Jackson County High School.
Hi, my name is Ruby Mobbs, and I'm a sophomore at Jackson County.
My name is Eliza Tony, and I'm a sophomore at Jackson County.
Hey y'all, my name's Natalie Perez, and I'm a junior at East Jackson High School.
Hi, my name is Campbell Pettis, and I'm a senior at East Jackson High School, and I plan on attending the University of Miami next year to study journalism.
Hello, my name is Christopher Sir, and I'm a junior at East Jackson.
Hi, my name is Camila Camacho. I am a junior at East Jackson.
Hi, I'm Molly Childers, and I'm a sophomore at East Jackson.
Hi, I'm Wyatt Wilson, and I'm a junior at East Jackson.
Hello, my name is Reese Sorrow, and I'm a senior at East Jackson High School. I plan on going to the University of Georgia next year to study agribusiness and agriculture and applied economics.
My name is Walker Malton. I'm a senior at East Jackson, and I plan to go and major in business management for college.
My name is Eli Averett, and I go to Jackson County High School, and I'm a sophomore.
My name is Mayor Magnus, and I am a junior at Jackson County High School.
My name is Brenna Gentile, and I'm a sophomore at Jackson County High School.
Hi, my name is Ava Lesniak. I'm a senior at Jackson County High School, and I plan to go to Georgia College and State University in Milledgeville and major in mass communications.
Hello, my name's Summer Townsend. I'm a junior at Jackson County High School.
Hello, my name is Parker Todd. I'm a junior at Jackson County High School.
My name is Madeline Brown. I'm a senior, and I'm hoping to either go to UGA or Georgia Tech for psychology and criminology.
My name is Julia Crothers. I'm a senior at Jackson County High School. I'll be going to Georgia Tech to study chemistry, and I will also be a Navy ROTC midshipman.
Great job, guys. Part of leadership is being asked to do things you don't want to do sometimes, so I appreciate you all coming up and introducing yourselves to the board. One of the things that I will remember about this group is talking to them in the spring. And Reese, do you remember what question you asked me? All right, so that was the question. What was that? And does anybody remember what I said? All right, Bubble. Do you remember the second part of that answer? Does anybody remember that? I did. And so there you go, right? And I think that your teachers and your parents have done so much to give you those opportunities. So when we think about leadership, we think about not only what we can do to help other people and the investments that we make, but the really cool thing about leadership sometimes is getting to see people live out their hopes and dreams. And for us as educational leaders, I was disappointed none of you said you want to be a teacher, but that's all right. Still not done recruiting you. But it was really cool for us to see many of you get to say where you were going to school, and some of you got to say your dream school, which means that this board and these leaders and these principals and our teachers and your parents have done some amazing things to get you to this point. So don't ever forget to say thank you to those individuals that work really, really hard each and every day. And I hope you have a wonderful, if you're a senior, I don't know how many days of school you'll have left, but if you're, how many? Crothers, I'm done. 0. But really thankful for you giving your time tonight. Thank you to the leaders, Ms. Wilson and her team, and those teachers that pour so much into our students, because this is really what it's all about, right, is getting to see you invest in other people and invest in your school community and then go on and do great things in our world. So really proud of you. All right, a few other things I want to say to the board. It's a busy, busy time of the year. I think, like last night, I think we had 400 in attendance, or 400 plus in attendance at our FFA banquet across the district. Tremendous turnout there. We've had really successful sports teams this spring, really successful band, chorus, drama. I know we've had some amazing plays that have taken place at both of our high schools. And we've got some sport teams still competing, so wish them the best of luck as they finish out the year. Also had an opportunity last week to attend an IB banquet, which was really cool to see some of the projects. Saw some of you there. Some of the projects that our students are doing. So lots of great things going on there. I would ask community members one thing that would really be helpful for us right now. Everyone knows that we're growing. One of the things that's really challenging for us is to be able to forecast how many students are going to arrive next fall. So if you know someone who's going to have a pre-K age student who wants to enroll in pre-K with us, please reach out to them and have them enroll in pre-K. The sooner the better, so that we can get that taken care of. And the same thing with kindergarten. If you know a rising kindergartner in your neighborhood or your neighbor or a family member, please reach out to them and tell them to go ahead and register for kindergarten as soon as possible. That'll really help us during the budgeting and planning process. Board, on Monday night, we will be in the auditorium for our May regular session board meeting. We'll have a reception in the Student Center here at Empower at 5:30 for our retirees. Graduations, mentioned those earlier, next Saturday, May 16th. East Jackson High School at 10 and Jackson County High School at 3. Those are being held at Akins Ford Arena in Athens. Also want to remind you about the June and July board meetings. The work session and board meetings are combined on June 15th and July 20th. And then we will be together for the GSBA conference on June 7th through the 10th down in Savannah. Ms. Huell has been working really hard on our agenda and itinerary for that, so more information will be coming regarding that. With that said, that concludes my comments. Dr. Hardigree, teaching and learning. Yeah, students, if you want to leave, we really loved having you here, and you're going to learn a lot by staying. Glad y'all got to see us.
Do you have anything on the screen? Do you want me to go first?
I think we
We do have it with you. Yeah, I'll let you go first.
Okay.
All right, good evening. Great to see everyone. I'm actually going to turn it over to Mr. Irvin first to share some information that he has about our phone upgrade system.
Well, good evening, board members. It's good to see you tonight. And it's nice to know that technology is, setting the bar high, that we can do every rehearsal, every practice run in the world, and it will have a mind of its own when you do the real thing. So tonight I'd like to talk to you about our phone system and the possibility of upgrading it and changing out what we've got currently. So I'll start with what our current system our current setup is. We have a Mitel phone system that we host in-house. We purchased that back in January of 2020. We purchased on a 5-year contract at the time, and the contract expired in June of 2025. At that time, we have moved to a year-by-year renewal, so we're just renewing 1 year at a time rather than signing another long contract. Mitel went bankrupt in March of 2025, and we have kind of been looking for alternatives after that development since then. So we've really looked off and on. We've got about 2 years in looking at various options, looking at what other districts have done. And just to give some reference and some numbers, we initially paid $125,000 for the system we have now. At the time, we chose not to put phones in classrooms, and there was enough of a pushback and outcry that we put them right back in. So our total cost of ownership of the phone system we have now is right at $508,000. So just keep that in your mind as a point of reference for the system I'm going to present here in a second. So some of the limitations that we've got with the system we have now, again, it is hosted internally, so it relies on our internet, it relies on our network, and in particular, it relies on Jackson County High. And there is a server closet over at Jackson County High that if something happens to that particular room, our phones are down all across the district. So there's also a significant security risk with what we have now. Due to the nature of how the phone system works, you have to have traffic into our network and back out publicly. That's how your phone calls can go outside of Jackson County. And with that, we literally have to punch holes in our network firewall so that we can make those calls go through and the traffic follow through. So we've done all we can do from a technological standpoint on securing the servers we have, But at the end of the day, they are still publicly exposed by design, and being that they're out there publicly available, they are hammered constantly by hackers and just people probing, things out there on the internet and trying to find something vulnerable. So one of the reasons we wanted to change, besides the limitations, with the new 3 schools coming online, we felt like it's either a point of where we buy 3 more schools worth of equipment for our current phone system, equipment that we know pretty certainly will not work with a new system down the road, or we make the change now and accommodate that. We know we'll have more staff in the future, and the more staff we add, that means the more phones, the more licenses, and the more complexity. It will never be cheaper from a price standpoint to change as it is right now, because we'll just keep growing from here on out. Also, given the drastic price increase of anything technology related because of AI and all the equipment that's being bought up for that, I expect that any kind of, even phones, desk phones, the cost will only go up from here. So anything we want to consider in the future, the price will probably just go up and keep increasing as we move forward. We also don't know how long Mitel will continue to support our current system. And changing now allows us to do it at our pace and our schedule, rather than waiting for the system that we have to go end of life or just stop being supported one day. So to look at our options, we posted an RFP in March of 2026, and our criteria we were pretty particular about. We didn't want to lose any features or capabilities. So if we have a feature now today, we wanted that same feature for the users in Jackson County with a new system as well. We did not want to remove any phones. So under the proposed system that I'm going to propose, we have 1,370 phones in our current phone system, and we will have 1,370 phones with the new phone system. Again, we did try back in 2020 with consolidating some things, pulling phones out, and it just did not work. We ended up adding the phones right back in a few months down the road. So this is a cloud-based system as opposed to our current self-hosted system, meaning that these servers are in the cloud. They live outside our network, and that takes care of the security holes that we have to have in place now. That also comes with 24/7, 365 support. It's something that we do have good support currently. We don't have support at that level. So if something were to go wrong with the phone system we have now, that we don't have anything close to that currently. The new system also offers redundancy and failover options that we just can't rely on here with our current system. The system we are proposing has multiple data centers across the United States, and that gives us a lot of flexibility, a lot of redundancy. We're not relying on our in-house servers anymore, and we're relying on a service that is literally striped across multiple states and almost all of the U.S. We also knew that any system we wanted to look at would need to accommodate our future growth in all of our new schools. And we knew going in that our vendor would need to meet extremely tight timeline and do the project with minimal disruption. So there must be a lot of money in phone systems because we received 31 responses to our RFP. We asked the vendors to quote 5-year total cost of ownership, and we had pricing all the way from $492,000 all the way up to $2.4 million. I've shared some documents with you, and due to the number of the vendors that we had, I consolidated what you have before you. It's just the top 12 responding bidders. We literally couldn't fit everybody else on a single page. And that's what you see in front of you here as well. So the system we're proposing tonight is Vonage, and again, it is cloud-based. There's no internal servers, no holes in the firewall. One good thing, there's a lot of advantages from safety and security perspective. The desk phones for this system will work anywhere that you have internet. So if you have an internet connection anywhere, you can plug the phone in. It'll work just like it's plugged in one of our schools. If the internet connection is unavailable, it automatically fails over to a cell phone connection. And what I mean by that, if you have the app on your phone, say your desk phone is down, it automatically starts ringing your cell phone. So that kind of gives us some business continuity advantages as well. Currently, with our existing system, when we have a school that loses internet or something of that nature, we literally have to drive to the site, bring a hotspot, and do a bunch of configuring on the back end to maybe get one phone back online. And we always try to get the front desk phone online. But we literally have to be there on site, changing things, hoping it'll work, and then once the outage is resolved, we have to go back and undo all that we just did. This will happen automatically. It'll fail over without us needing to do anything. Let's say we have an incident where large numbers of staff need to work from home, like say a COVID scenario, or say a building, building's uninhabitable or something along those lines. Again, you can take your desk phone with you and plug it in anywhere there's an internet connection. Going back to the cellular app, we do have this feature currently available. We have an app called MicLab, but it does rely on our internal servers at Jackson County High, which means if that server's acting up or that server drops offline, everybody's cell phone app's down. We also have a limit with the current cell phone app on how many people can actually have the app. It's a licensing issue. We only purchase enough licenses so that certain folks can have the app. With the new system we're proposing, it's unlimited. So every user, if they want to, can have the app on their cell phone. And a good advantage of that is when you call from the cellular app, it always looks like you're calling from your desk phone. So if I were to call somebody, that would show as Jackson County Schools extension 17901. So no matter where you are, that's always a feature that, is really helpful. Desk phones are included with Vonage's proposal. We did look at saving some money by trying to reuse our existing Mitel phones. However, we basically were told that it's a best effort. It might work, it might not. You might plug the phone in and it get a dial tone, but then half the buttons don't work. So given how critical the phones are for our infrastructure, we just felt like we did not want to go down that route. The proposal tonight does again include the phones, and I will say also that the phones we have are 6+ years old at this point, and phones do wear out. There's a lot of network components inside that can and do go bad. There's also some E911 features that are very, very attractive about Vonage compared to our current phone system. So you have Carey's Law and Raybaum Act, and the system is fully compliant with both of those acts. And what that means, the Raybaum Act means that it will send dispatchable information when you call 911. It sends that information of location, and in this case with the new system, it can get as granular as floor or even room number, and it can send that to first responders. Carey's Law, that has to do with being able to dial 911 without preceding digits. It's fully compatible with that as well, but it also provides dispatchers with a private callback line that bypasses settings to reach the original calling device if it is disconnected. So say someone were to call 911 and then drop the phone or put it back on the hook. They have a direct path to call, first responders have a direct path to call back into our system and get the original caller on the line. Vonage can also send alerts to district staff. They can do it through phone, email, or all of the above, to campus staff anytime 911 is dialed. So if you wanted to, you could have alerts sent to Mr. Kent, Dr. Brown, and other staff as well anytime that sequence is dialed in our phone system. And I mentioned reliability, but again, Vonage is hosted across multiple data centers, and right now with what we have, if we lose Jackson County High, we pretty much are down until we get it back online. I will point out also, unlike some of the proposals we received for the RFP, Vonage is not a reseller. They are the people that produce, update, and program the system themselves. So you are dealing with the actual vendor that makes the system. You're not dealing with a third party who then contacts the phone maker and deals with them. So that was a big benefit for us as well. Let's talk through cutover strategy. So cutting over a phone system, there's never a great time to do it. If you've cut over a phone system, then you've pat yourself on the back at the end of the day, because it's a lot. We are under extremely tight timeline to get this implemented, and we knew going into the RFP process that we were, and we made sure all the vendors that responded knew that. They knew that you're going to have to propose a strategy that's most feasible, not disruptive, and we can get it done immediately. So with what we've got proposed, all of our existing phone numbers will be ported over to Vonage's new service. I will point out that that is often the holdup when you change a phone system, is that there's no guarantee you can keep all of your existing numbers. You can imagine if you take your cell phone and you go to a different carrier, the old carrier is under no obligation to give you your number. And that's what you sometimes see with phone system cutovers as well. We'll make every effort to keep the existing phone numbers that we have, but there may be one or two that we can't get. We won't know until we start the process. So just know that going in. When we're ready to cut a building over from the old phone system to the new, what we'll do is we'll go through the building, we'll put the new system, the new phone directly on the desk beside the old one. We'll hook them both up, and then overnight, the old phone stops ringing and the new phone begins ringing. What was proposed to us was a phased rollout instead of doing it all at once. Approximately 8 to 10 weeks of cutover time. We were told by the vendor that we can do it faster, but it's up to the availability of Jackson County staff. And I can say confidently, we will not be the holdup with this process. So if it can be done by working later, earlier, nights, weekends, we will do it. So, what questions do you have? I know that was a lot all at once.
So Brett, this is a 5-year commitment, and the price is broken down over a 5-year period, correct?
Correct. So year one, of course, is going to be a little more expensive because you're baking into year one your implementation costs, your programming, your initial setup. So the year one cost would be $169,000, $466.40. And then following that, each subsequent year goes down to $131,666.40. If you look at the total cost of ownership, it will be $696,112. And again, if you remember what we currently have in our existing phone system, that number's not super far off what we pay currently, especially given that we have 6 years of inflation and increased costs to deal with as well.
We anticipate this one lasting longer than our current one?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
This would include phones for the new schools that we're going to be opening in the fall. How about the school for the next fall?
This does not. So we did speak to them about the new schools and ask if the pricing would stay the same, and it will. Yep. It will stay the same for the new extensions and the new phones.
Okay, good. Thank you, Brett.
All right. Thank you.
And do me a favor, do not put that feature where it rings on your cell phone and somebody calls your desk phone to any of my stuff. I really would appreciate that. Thank you so much.
All right, I'll keep it brief. Just want to give you a quick update on testing. We are rolling through, and I'm just so grateful to our leaders and our tech team and our teachers for all of their hard work. And also want to report to you, we are seeing really tremendous progress and achievement. We can't share the scores with you yet, you know that, but it is very affirming of the work of our leaders and our teachers and the hard work of our students. So as those scores are rolling in, we're really proud and excited and can't wait to bring those to you. We are finished with end of grade, so that's all of our elementary students are finished with state testing, so they're headed on to field days and all the celebrations of the end of the year. We are just rolling into our EOCs with high school, have one under our belt, and we'll continue on with those. Finished with end of pathways, and continuing on with AP and IB really all the way through the end of the school year. So that's just a quick update of where we are with that. And then I wanted to let you know, because it's always like 1 foot in this school year and 1 foot in the next school year this time of year, and it comes fast, and you think it's May, but you're already planning ahead for July and August. So I wanted to let you know that the team is hard at work on the 3rd annual Inspired Conference, and we try to make it a little bigger and better and more powerful every year, so we hope that you'll stop by and put that date on your calendar and stop by and see us that day. We have over 70 Jackson County teachers and leaders who have submitted session proposals, which I think is just tremendous, because that's really the power of this opportunity and this conference is teachers and leaders hearing from each other and being able to share the things that they're passionate about and the things that they've learned. And so that's awesome to see. We have 35 plus outside presenters. We're excited. We're going to have Laura Hope Whitaker with us this year doing a keynote. Have a lot of great presenters lined up in all different areas, just with a variety of offerings there. And we anticipate having about 250 sessions that our teachers and leaders will be able to choose throughout the day. So it's always an exciting day. Thanks for your support for that. Just wanted to give you a quick preview of that because it's exciting to plan. And that's all I have for tonight. All right.
Well, good evening, board. I am excited to be here this evening. I will give you a quick update on hiring before I jump into our recommendation. We are 98 point something% of our certified teachers vacancies almost filled. So we have about 20 teaching openings right now, and the principals are working hard. My watch was going off with Mr. Gerald's back there telling me, hey, we've got 2 more recommendations coming in, so we're tracking it. We're very, very close, and our principals are working hard to get those last few filled before we start the school year. So thank you for your support and letting us, again, start early, because that has made all the difference in our hiring season. Tonight, I have for you a recommendation for a revision to our current board policy that deals with our personnel sick leave bank. And first of all, I just want to say how thankful I am that we have a sick leave bank, because it is such a great resource for our employees, and not every district offers this. It's been able to provide some support to some of our staff members who were going through very difficult times. And so we are very thankful to have it and hope to continue it, but we just want to try to revise it to make sure that the administrative procedures are not in policy. It just makes it more flexible. It allows us to respond when state or federal laws change regarding leave, and it just helps us to be a little bit more efficient instead of having to come to you every time we need to change a policy. So some of examples of those are the paid parental leave has changed a couple of times on us. And so that impacts what leave is available to employees. That impacts when they're eligible to take sick leave. Also, just defining a catastrophic illness. The policy, as you can see, was written a while ago, and the definitions that are listed there, there's unfortunately a lot more things that our people are dealing with that are exempt because they weren't included in this policy. So it still maintains the board's authority to ensure that we have the sick leave bank and compliance with state law when it comes to a sick leave bank, but it allows the procedures to be handled more in an administrative aspect with the superintendent, our department, and HR, and ultimately it just helps us to be good stewards of the sick leave bank, ensure that we're making sure everything is equitable within state, following all of the laws, but not having to come to you every time we need to change a minute detail in terms of the process and procedures. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, but that revision is there for you and will be presented in consent agenda on Monday for approval. Any questions? All right, thank you so much.
Good evening, Board. I'm grateful to have a moment just to talk about enrollment. And we have 11,471 Panthers and Eagles still with us here at the end of April. You're ready to finish out the year strong. I know that Martha and the registration team are already filling up applications for next year and getting kids ready to join us in the new year as well. So that's where we are. We've stayed pretty steady here in the spring, and we'll see, I believe we'll see a few hundred more Panthers and Eagles by the time we get into to August, but things are looking good there. Any questions about enrollment? All right, thank you.
Good evening, board. To bookmark or to follow up on the enrollment, we have handed out flyers to all the builders in the area, and as they have folks close on their homes, encouraging them to make sure the families enroll as soon as possible, so it's not late July. So they've been really receptive to that, and they're sitting there inside those model homes. Like Dr. Hardiger said, we're closing up 1 year, getting ready for another year. This information will be shared next week with our families and community, just so getting people, while they're still really honed in on what we're sending out before the summer break, we want to get them back to school information. So open houses information for 26, 27. It'll be elementary will be on that Tuesday, July 28th, and the middle and high schools will be on that Monday, July 27th. So we're excited to share that information out as we get ready for 26 and 27 school year. So any questions? All right, thank y'all.
Good evening, board. First report I'm going to share with you is our SPLOST report. In April, we had a deposit of $1,290,109, which is it is an increase on our prior month collection, our year-over-year collection, and our 12-month average. So that was great news. The balance at the end of April was $6,261,504. The next report is our financial report, and we have completed 83% of the year at the end of April, with 91% of our budgeted revenues collected at $151,205,639, and our expenditures spent at 81% of budgeted, which was $133,665,750. The fund balance when we ended April was $49,424,638. That was a decrease of $6.6 million from the previous month. And previous year, it is almost $13 million more. Any questions about those reports before I move on to?
I will say one thing on the decrease between March and April. Board, if you'll remember, we voted in the $2,000 bonus for our employees. And so that's why you see a little bit more of a decrease between March and April than you see some of the other months. But we're a couple more months left in the fiscal year, and we feel confident that we're going to leave FY26 in a very good spot.
Okay, next I have tentative budgets to share with you. And I will say we have not gotten the tax digest, so a lot of this is still, to the best of our knowledge, we're giving you information that we have access to. I will be presenting 5 budgets. I always hit the wrong button. We're going to be looking at the general fund budget, which you're used to seeing every year, in addition to debt service, which is how we make our bond payments, capital projects, which is where you see our SPLOST and bond dollars at use, building schools, renovations, improvements, special revenue funds, which is our federal program grants, and school nutrition. The first one we're going to look at is the general fund. Currently, we're budgeting the revenue at $170,978,940 and expenditures at $170,971,720. Some of the highlights that we included in that budget was the 2% salary increase, the increases to state health and TRS, the shift of counseling from instruction to pupil services, instructional materials for our new schools, essential staff for opening the new schools, additional teachers and paras, and 2 additional mobile classrooms.
I have a few questions for you, Aaron,
Hit
for the board. If we'll go back to that slide right there will work. The difference in property taxes from FY26 amended budget to FY27. Will you share a little bit about our forecasting there of how we came up with those numbers?
Absolutely. When we prepared this, we looked at a 7% increase in property in the total digest, but then we also did a 10% increase on exemptions, because we know there are many people who have not submitted for that yet, and so we expect that to increase significantly.
And the previous slide had on there additional teachers and paraprofessionals. And I know we talked about this Monday in a meeting. How many additional teachers did we add district-wide?
8 teachers and 4 parapros.
And most of those additional teachers were in
Special education. Yes, sir.
Very good. And that 2% salary increase, is that for all employees?
That is for every person.
Very good.
Great questions, thank you. So the difference between our FY26 amended budget and our FY27 budget in revenues is $4,635,980. And you can see most of that is in our local property tax. And there is an increase in our local 5 mil share, which is determined by the state.
So go back to that slide. So looking at the FY26 amended budget of $166,342,958 versus the projected tentative budget of $170,978,939, what percent increase is that year from one year to the other? Do you know?
I don't know.
The 2.5, Mr. Wester? Okay, very good.
I think we're ready to go to expenditures. So we also have an increase in the 27 compared to the FY26 amended budget of $4,628,755. And I know when you look at the percentages, that pupil services line looks crazy because they used to be paid from the instructional budget, and this year there was a change at the state that required us to code them to pupil services. And so although it looks like an 80% increase, it's really just a shift from the instructional row to the pupil services. When you combine both of those, it's a 9.5% increase. Any questions about the general fund tentative budget? Okay, I'm going to move on to debt service. So when we're looking at the debt service account, the revenues that we use to pay those bond payments are bond millage, other taxes, which is transfer and intangible taxes, interest, and some of SPLOST. We know for a fact how much our debt service payments are going to be, so this is the only budget I'm going to present where I say this is our expenditures, and it's correct, it's the number. And shoot, I lost my thought. Any questions about this one? I know it's new, it's the first time you guys have seen this budget. On the next slide, I did do a breakdown of our debt service payments. We currently have 2 bonds, one from 2019 and one from 2025. And this shows we have one payment in September and a second payment in March. The next budget we're going to look at is capital projects. The revenues we'll be using from capital projects, a big part of that is our fund balance, because sitting in there are our bond proceeds. So we've already got that money. It's ready to be used for the schools that we're building. The revenues that'll be coming in include SPLOST, interest, and our GSFIC or capital outlay. And so this is what we projected we'll be able to get reimbursed from the state during FY27. So that number isn't the full GSFIC, that's just what we know we think we'll be eligible for in 2027. The same with
The total amount on that's 39.3 million.
Yes.
So that 28 is a portion of that 38,
Right.
39.3, and so we'll receive the rest of that in FY28.
Yes. The same perspective with the capital projects expenditures, that's just what we'll be spending during this fiscal year. On the next slide, I listed what we have planned for. Our 4th payment of 5 on our bus leases. The local portion we need to contribute to use the bond bus money that's given from the state each year. We're setting aside $1 million for technology replacements. And then these two numbers, it's important to know, this is just what we'll be spending during '27. So these aren't the full project costs, but $108 million on the K-12 Boone Road property, or schools, and then $16 million on the East Jackson Elementary, East Jackson Middle School, and West Middle additions and renovations. Question?
They start this summer.
This summer. The next one we're going to look at is special revenue funds. These are our federal programs, and we do have a couple others that could come through, but these are the ones we are certain about, so that's what we're including on the tentative budget. And what's special about your special revenue funds is you don't have a beginning balance and you don't have an ending balance, because whatever you spend in accordance to these federal grants is what they reimburse you. So it's different than the others, no fund balance, and that's okay. And we've just based that on the amounts that we were allocated for this fiscal year. The last budget I'm going to share with you is school nutrition. From school nutrition, we have a couple sources of revenue. People pay for their lunches sometimes, right? We get some support from the state and a good bit of support from federal. So the total revenue we've budgeted is $7,516,378. We are doing a freezer cooler replacement at the middle schools, and $600,000 of that is coming from school nutrition, in addition to the $7,758,000 that we budgeted for their other expenditures. The highlights from that budget include the 2% salary increase. They will also experience the increase in state health and TRS. I'm sure you all know the food increases in costs there, and then helping to pay for the freezer cooler replacement. A couple things to note is the federal reimbursement amounts, we won't get those till June, so we'll have better numbers for you when we present the final budget. And then we do plan to increase the prices for breakfast, lunch, supplementals, and adults. Any questions about any of those budgets? Okay, I got a couple more slides just to share some more information with you. As we look at the 2027 tentative funding, we are looking at 50.8% funding coming from the state and 49.2%, and this is of the general fund budget. This is a history of our health insurance contributions as employers. As you can see, back in 2015, classified personnel, we contributed $7,154 per person per year, and we were jumping all the way up to $23,220 per person per year, both classified and certified. That classified increase is 3 times as much as we used to pay. Certified is double what we used to pay. And you can see I added how much QBE covered, because that is something to take into consideration, that a lot of our certified staff, we get funding from the state for that. And then just took the difference of how much we funded locally and gave that as a percentage of our budget. So for the coming year, 4.7% of our budget would be the district's covering of state health. However, in the budget, we list the expense in total, and so really it's that $25 million that we're budgeting in expenditures, and that's 14.8% of our budget. For TRS, you can also see the employer rate increasing over the years. For FY27, it is 10.94% of our budget will be going to employer contributions for TRS. A couple of the legislative actions that I wanted to mention to you. The health insurance increase from $22,260 to $22,260 to $23,220. The impact for us on our budget is $1,051,920. The TRS increase is going to cost the district $343,000. The personal leave days increasing from 3 to 5. It's hard to put a value on that, but if we had to provide a sub for those absences, so just looking at the teachers increasing their use of personal days, that's a $253,000 cost. Paid parental leave is increasing from 6 weeks to 9 weeks. Literacy coaches in all the elementary schools is going to be something we've already done, but is going to be funded partially by the state. Something to consider when we do return to work retirees, the district does pay their 6% contribution. So we pay ours and theirs. And then 2 things to note from Senate Bill 33, there is a cap on home values that they're working on the details of how that's going to work. And they are increasing the fund balance cap from 15% to 25%. We waive that, so it's not something we're ever tested on. But I do think it's indicative that they're seeing that people need a healthy fund balance to be fiscally strong as a school district. And I know 15% for us isn't enough to make it through till we get our tax money. So it's a good thing that they're increasing that. The last slide is just a couple of next steps for our budget process. We'll be having a budget public hearing and having you approve a spending resolution for us at the June work session / board meeting. What that allows us to do is go ahead and spend money, pay our employees, pay our expenses in July before our final budget is approved. In July, we'll have another public budget hearing and have the final budget approved. Hopefully we get our tax digest sooner rather than later, but as a trend, we're looking at late July, and as soon as we have that, we'll be crunching the numbers to get the rollback rate. And at August 10th board meeting, we plan to have that ready for you, as well as adopt a tentative millage rate. And at that point, we will advertise the 5-year history and determine if hearings are needed for our millage rate. And then hopefully in September, we'll be able to adopt the millage rate and amend the budgets if necessary. Any questions?
Aaron, I know we don't have a tax digest yet, but just for clarification on our property tax estimates, what millage rate did we use to work on our forecasting?
Our current millage rate.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Dr. Brown Board, I appreciate the opportunity to come and present tonight. We'll start with our facilities project updates and just going over some of the work that's happening in our K-12 facility. Some of the site work continues. For the most part, the mass grading is mostly complete. We are doing stormwater pipe and fire line. The Sam Freeman connector has begun, and you'll see a slide of that shortly. The Hayes Farm Elementary structural steel is almost complete. In our pictures, again, you'll see the decking going on, so the decking is beginning to chase the steel, which is what we want, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Sales Mill, the concrete foundations are complete, and the slab on grade should be complete by the end of May if weather holds. The high school is moving along rather well. The mechanical, electrical, plumbing, as I refer to as the MEPs, are continuing and chasing each other and trying to keep up with the masons. So right now we're in a good position of each sub-trade is catching each other and trying to push each other. So very proud of that. Just to give you an idea of how many people are on site working, and this is probably a low estimate, but there's around 100 skilled trade professionals that are daily working on that job on the 3 areas of the site making things happen. So I appreciate Carol Daniel pushing and making sure that gets done. As you can see here, this is Hayes Farm Elementary. You can see the structural steel in the back. If you look back here, you can see the deck is already been put on. Trying to get the structural steel guys to keep moving. The Hayes Farm Elementary, the kitchen, the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, the concrete masonry units, which is our CM walls, are being constructed, and they're moving along quite at a good clip. The positive about it is you see that the roof above them, that means that we're getting close to having certain sections in what we call the dry, which allows the trades to work even if it's raining or there's weather outside. This is the high school field house, and below it is the high school structural steel going on in the gym area, and it's just continuing across that span. Last week, last week, mainly the big trusses that are in the gym. Just to give you an idea, they weigh about 16,000 pounds apiece. And they were set with a pretty good sized crane last week and welded in place. So very glad to get that out of the way before the rain set in. Here again, some more high school MEP rough ends. You can just kind of see the detail of the amount of infrastructure that it takes just in one area of the high school. The water pipes, the vent pipes, and then the electrical conduit, which would be coming up in the mechanical rooms. Below, you see the Sam Freeman connector, and it's continually in progress. On each side, you can kind of get a little glimpse of the wall. We'll get you a better picture of that next meeting. This is an overall view of the site. Kind of breaks it down in the high school, the elementary, and the middle school. You've got your high school going on here, your staging area, has binder down, the lay down, subs. Here you've got your elementary. See the fields here taking shape. You've got Any questions on the site? Yes, ma'am. We are on schedule. We received 3 inches of rain between yesterday evening, last night, and this morning on site. And I'm very proud to say that we contained that, filtered that, and all the things that we put in place to control what goes out worked. And that was a lot of rain in a short time period for us. So, any other questions? All right, this is a sign, a new digital sign at East Jackson Elementary. I'm very proud to partner with East Jackson Middle on that, and just wanted to make sure that you got a picture of that. Allows East Jackson Middle to kind of just show itself off a little bit, and you know, maybe be a good little fundraiser for them in the future. Any questions? All right, moving on. We do have one consideration for the board for Monday night. Just want to bring it to your attention, a request for proposals for the Jackson County School System Custodial Supplies and Support Program. Services was issued on March the 30th, 2026. By the deadline of April 28, 2026, there were 4 firms that submitted written proposals: America's First Maintenance, Imperial Dade, Thornton Brothers, and United Chemical and Supply Company. The selection committee composed of school system staff reviewed each proposal individually, and following their evaluation and discussion, the committee completed their evaluations and made their final recommendations. Our recommendation for your consideration tonight and Monday night is to approve a 1-year contract with Imperial Dade for the 2026 and 2027 school year for a contract price of $318,398.88. Any questions?
Yes. Imperial Dade bought out Athens Janitorial, correct?
That is correct, sir.
How long did we use Athens Janitorial?
We have used them for quite a number of years. I have been here in this position around 3 years, so I know at least 3, and I know beyond that we have a good partnership with them.
Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly the amount,
So,
Dr. Brown, I can't tell you for
no,
sure.
I think it's important, that partnership.
In other words, we're not really paying.
Right, right. And let me say this, with changing companies, there's a lot of things that play into that, you know, dispensers, things like that. So we've got a good partnership with them. They do a good job. They're responsive, and even in the buyout, things still continue to improve and do well. So any other questions? Dr. Brown, Board, I appreciate the opportunity, and y'all have a good night. Thank you.
No, sir.
Okay, we do have a need for executive session for personnel. I need a motion to go to executive session, please. Moved by Mr. Johnson. Do I have a second? Ms. Wheeler seconds. All in favor? Aye. We'll be back. back from executive session? Motion by Mr. Brooks, do I have a second? Second by Mr. Johnson, all in favor? Aye. Need a motion to approve the superintendent's personnel recommendations and from executive session. Ms. Wheeler with a motion, Mr. Johnson with a second, all in favor? Aye. Any other business to come before the board tonight, Dr. Brown? Are we good? Anybody else? We good? Thank y'all for waiting around. We are adjourned.